And I call the member for New England.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I'd like to start with one fact. When I returned back to New England, Chaffey Dam wasn't built. It wasn't built because they couldn't get the environmental approvals through because of, amongst other things, the Burralong frog, for which they needed environmental offsets. And this is where the Labor Party lives. They live in this mystery world where they talk about that they were building Chaffey Dam. That was not correct. It was not true. It didn't happen. It wasn't there. We built it. We built it because we forced through the approvals to make sure that happened. And we put the more money so it could happen. And after we attained government, it was built. And that is a fact. Now, Mr Speaker, I want to talk about something that's so pressing. It's the drought. The drought in regional areas occupies my colleagues in the National Party's time most of the time because it is so seminal. I want to clearly note that when we say that if a person has not made a profit in the last 10 years, they should consider what they do, that does not mean that they should leave the land. It means that they should consider how they can earn extra money, whether they go to a trade, or whether they become a cartage operator, or whether they go back to other jobs. And I refer this to the people I know. Go back shearing, go back driving a truck, start a small business. They have to look at other ways to bring in income because you can't just live in perpetual poverty. But what I want to tell the Australian people in the regional areas tonight is that we are working on drought in the National Party. We have been. We absolutely put this at the forefront of our view. And the Nationals have a developed policy to make sure that we deal with this. We believe that a drought committee should be set up in each drought shire affected. It would include such people as the local mayor, a local community leader such as the president of Rotary, the rural financial councillor that covers the district, the local federal member, the local state member and all their appointed representatives, a local business leader such as the local stock and station agent with clear understanding of that area that's in drought, and a representative from a local charity that has so much to do with trying to manage the people who are dealing with drought. The committee would be given access to a drought fund to be dispersed for any issue that has a clear nexus to the drought requirements of the Shire. We say that because the requests that come to us are many and varied. And now we need local knowledge to make the contract between that many and varied request and the local knowledge that would be apparent in a local committee. The fund would be furbished with $10 million per shire, a 50-50 contribution from the state and the federal government, so the state understands their part of this responsibility. The fund only becomes active when both have contributed to that fund to keep the political pressure on them. And just because a shire would be allocated $10 million doesn't mean it would spend $10 million. It would spend as much as required, knowing that the stewardship of that respected committee has oversight over that money. The federal member or the state member would have a right of veto, so if some untoward proposal came forward, they have the capacity to say, no, we're not going to accept that. And if needed, the committee needed to go in camera to deal with the personal issues of someone, it could. So that it had the capacity of people who were privy to the private details of someone who was under stress or under duress and able to help them directly. This would be able to deal with a whole myriad of issues, from fodder to AQUIS fees to people out in the western districts where there are no high schools, and making sure those kids don't come back from boarding school. Because they come back from boarding school, that's the end of their education. They're not going to go back to working like a man or coming back as a girl, coming back and working on the place and then go back to boarding school. Their life has changed. Where required, we would make sure that if further funds are required down the track, we would deal with this. Now, I know how politics works, Mr Speaker. I've been in it for long enough. We keep on thinking that, and other colleagues have also said this to me, that if we just do enough to catch up, we're there. Well, the drought is going on and we have to now reach ahead of it. We have to reach ahead of it or be dragged to there later on down the track. So my message to the Australian people tonight is the Nationals Party is with their shoulder to the wheel. It does have their shoulder to the wheel on this issue. We are driving agendas. We are making sure that we look after the people, our core constituencies. And we are proud of the fact that we do build dams. With the announcement of Dungowan Dam, Mole River Dam, we built Chaffey Dam. The dams in Tasmania, we are building them. We are actually doing that. And we would build Rookwood Weir if a state Labor government wasn't so attached to the Green movement that they just would never, ever get out of bed to help regional